Hello, everybody, and welcome back to One at a Time, lads. Sorry for the long absence. Moving across the country will make doing stuff like this a little bit difficult. Anyway, I'm your host, Zach, and I'm here playing a game with my buddy Jason. Say hi, Jason.
How's it going, guys? The Hunter player.
Yeah, so in this game, I was playing Union, and Jason was playing Hunters.
Decided to go with Skatha because kickball
We'll get
is
to that,
fun.
we'll get to that, we'll get to that.
Okay.
Alright, so let's get started. Alright, so here we've got our game plan cards. I chose fullback, get back in there, back in the game, midfield general, and dig deep.
So I chose sell it to the crowd, seize the initiative, keep your chin up, keep the ball moving, and go for the knees. I kind of kept it high point so I could hopefully steal the momentum race.
Yeah. And I win this roll-off and choose to receive. Playing Union, I almost always want to receive. A note about the game plans. I wouldn't normally take dig deep against Hunters, but we'd kind of talked about what this matchup looked like before we played and decided kind of if you had to kick, that Skatha would be the better option. So knowing that, I figure, well, it's got the extra influence, so even if I receive, or even if he doesn't end up playing Skatha and isn't going for goal scoring, it's still good for me there, but if he does, then I can get a little benefit.
Plus, I knew playing into Union, it's going to be a murder fest, and I'd much rather play kickball than murder fest with the Hunters against Union.
If you can do it fast enough, they can't defend the ball crazy well. So yeah, I've got Raging Coin on the receive versus Skatha and Fahad on the kick. And
Fahad was the clear choice just because Fahad has the free charge, can actually output damage, and Snow isn't very beneficial against a team with not high armor.
So I don't know about that because my Union teams don't tend to have a lot of knockdowns in them. And they also have most of their output models being 1-inch melee.
So the dodge.
I think Snow might be good for protecting people because my only knockdowns in my typical Union list are Rage and Benediction. Benedictions is not a very good knockdown, and you never really want to be taking Rages. And then occasionally Gutter or Fangtooth if I run them. There's a bit of confusion here where I've been mentioning how if I had kicked, I would have taken Blackheart, so I absentmindedly grabbed O-Rage's card as a draft, and as much as I wish I could do that, I can't.
2 Rages would be good.
Too Rage, too Furious.
Oof, so nice. So at this point, all I had chosen was Cena, Skatha, and Fahad. I put Cena on the board because Zach already knew I was going to take him, so I didn't want to give too much away quite yet.
Yeah, you're rarely not taking Cena.
The damage output's just too good for that. Yeah. And then I think I grabbed Edge at this point, and I grabbed Edge because if I'm playing Skatha, he knew I was going to take Edge. So again, not trying to give him too much.
Also just kind of wanted to play with her more. This was my first time playing against her other than a doubles match, which is kind of a weird format, but so this was my first time really seeing. And at this point, I've got Benediction, Decimate, and Minx. So my debate here is really between Hemlock and Gutter.
And so at this point, Zach gives me the pass to go grab Egret because for some reason Ulfer was in the 12, and as everybody knows, Ulfer is garbage right now.
Yeah, it was a mistake. So that looking at that, you don't have as many conditions as a Steeljaw team would, but the ability to put them out in a burst makes Hemlock very appealing for the condition clearing, as well as just general usefulness of having range damage and blind. That was kind of warring against Gutter for getting to live the Scything Blow dream against the Bear. Yeah. But the team, as he had drafted it right now, being so goal scorer, I didn't really anticipate clumping up enough to really take advantage of that. And I don't like spending that much influence on chain grabs to bring them in when I can hopefully just get the points outright. So I went with Hemlock, if only, also if just for the influence efficiency. Minx and Decimate are both very hungry.
I personally think that Hemlock was better into it because the Scything Blow is really nice, but honestly, your team didn't really need any more damage output. You had the damage output pretty handled at this point with your team setup.
Are you saying that Union don't need to do more damage? That, it's not about need, it's about want.
God. So I think at this point I'm trying to choose my last model. It was mainly between J-Car, Egret.
No, it's Egret and Chaska was what you just put down on the board right now and asked me to choose for you, which I refused.
I would have been willing to play either. I think J-Car would have been fun, but Egret actually ended up being a much better choice because...
So I think Chaska would have been the best move there, actually.
You think so?
I do. I think he gives you a little bit of punch in the fight.
Yeah.
And as you said at one point, the shotgun to disengage people, as well as just solid pushes on his playbook.
Yes. The disengage is really nice. And I had already brought Minx, so Fun Dad is... Or, Blessing of the Sun Father is always nice with Chaska.
Oh, yeah. I don't think you can feasibly run Chaska without having at least one Blessing in the list.
Well, I mean, the only person who gives you Blessing is Theron or Minx, so...
Or Hearn.
No, that's Last Light.
Oh,
you're talking about... Yeah, but if you're not running
not
Theron, then, there's no point. So.
Yeah, and Theron's not in your 12. You're a Steeljaw Scatha.
As you told me recently, apparently nobody runs Hearn again except for me, so...
I wouldn't say nobody, just he's a rarer pick. I mean, you usually use him to pretty good effect. He always gets work done for you.
Yeah. It's... Ever since the first time I picked up Hunters, I've really thought about his places. His places are just extremely handy.
Mobility is never bad. And now you've got Edge for ludicrous mobility.
God. As you'll see in this game, her movement is just insane. Coupled with Scatha, it almost shouldn't be a thing.
Well, remind me to talk more about that later, because I think she's fine. So you've got Egret kicking off here, which means I've got to deploy pretty wide.
Yep.
With a 6'8 move and an 8-inch kick, deployed pretty centrally. She can get the ball pretty far out. So I've got Minx on one wing towards the top of the field and Decimate down on the other as my potential ball retrievers. In general, they're both fast and can do things from range. So I don't necessarily need them to stay close to the rest of my team.
I also think that Zach has played against me enough that he has learned that I love doing if I can't get the ball with Egret on the first activation, I'm just going to put out like 6 to 8 damage and poison.
Oh, that's what's great about Egret.
Yeah.
I mean, she's multifunction. She's great at holding on to the ball. She can put in a goal when she needs to, and then she just puts out burst damage and runs to safety.
There's many, and you'll see at this point... Oh, hold on. It's a little later. I'm getting too ahead of myself.
Still kicking off. So you're going for just a short little kickoff over the line.
Yep.
I tend to prefer the little riskier kickoffs, I think.
Yeah. So normally I would go with a riskier kickoff. The main reason I did not want to go with the risky kickoff was I know you had enough versatility, and I kind of like the idea that you have to come close to me. Mm-hmm. So I can go in, you'll probably move back just a hair, I can steal the ball and just kick it right in potentially, but it doesn't really play out as well.
Yeah, as the tackle dodge on one and gaining close control, I mean, Egret got a lot of help in this last errata for actually being viable to do that.
God.
As long as whoever she's going into doesn't have a good knockdown.
Yes. And playing against people who are not familiar with Hunters is just the most glorious thing in the world, because they do not expect Egret just coming downtown and getting the goal first activation.
So, as I'm allocating, I'm really seeing... I always measure out what can Minx do turn one. So she can't jog into range for an axe throw, so which means she needs at least 3 influence to sprint and do it. And any extra for marked target is always nice, but not necessary. The ball being right up there means it means I'm going to go get it with Decimate. I don't like using Hemlock for retrieval because her abilities. I don't really want to go. I don't really want to go first with her. I like going with her after I've given her second wind so that she can get back to safety, and preferably after Coin has given her a bag of coffers for a free bonus time on the blind. So saving her for kind of a mid-turn activation, turn 1, is usually my go-to.
And just as a person who had to play against Minx multiple times in the Union sense, never kick the ball towards Minx. That is the worst thing to do, and so that's why I directed it all the way to the other side of the field. Because if you let Minx go first, it's almost like letting Egret go first. There's just too much happening, and she gets away as soon as she does it.
Yeah, except when you miss that axe throw. That always feels bad.
That feels bad.
Because not only do you not put 3 damage and snare on the kicker, but then you don't get your back to the shadows.
I can tell you a horror story where I missed a Snapfire and a Flurry one time with Egret. So she was literally just in the middle of the board, and you can't do anything about that.
Yeah, yeah. It's always sad. Alright, so as I said, we've got Decimate jogging up, and she's not going to do much this turn. She's just going to get the ball, move back another inch, and pass to Hemlock, or pass to Coin, actually, and give her Hemlock second wind. So passing the ball to Coin right now keeps the ball a little bit safer than if it was on Hemlock, due to both his 2-inch melee and just kind of having to run the corridor between Decimate and Hemlock, where if you came in, you would probably be crowded out at least once.
Yeah.
Plus just the fact that you need to throw some character plays for dodges before it even becomes an option.
And as you can tell, I'm trying to see if I can live the dream here and just come in and steal the ball. It takes a while for me to figure out and contemplate if it's even close to worth it. I find out it was not worth it. There's no point in doing this.
Yeah.
And I actually think I was just a little shy of being able to do it anyway.
And even if you did come in and try for it, you would have been on a 1-die shot.
Yes.
Which,
Never
getting there, you probably don't have the momentum to bonus time, because you would more than likely have to bonus time a Snapfire to get in there in the first place. But yeah, we find out Egret's just out of range anyway.
So, when you find out you can't really get anything with Egret, there's only one other option. Just go in and do massive poison damage.
Used up a lot of clock on this activation.
I did.
Yeah, measuring things out to not happen is always...
So,
keeping those things moving quickly is typically good.
I totally am fine with the fact that I wasted clock, because if I can get 4 points in that one activation, it's worth it in my opinion. It's not preferable by any means, but if you can do it, it's worth it.
So, activating Egret before now is probably a good move. You pretty much have 2 more activations to activate her, because once Coin goes, gives Hemlock the cookie, and then she goes, then if I get blind on your kicker, then she's not doing anything right. Well, actually, that's not true. She'd really be doing the same thing she's doing here, since she's not actually using... blind. We hit the flurry on... You went for the risky flurry on Hemlock to get Rage and Coin in there, and you managed to hit it on 2 dice, which of course gives me more momentum.
As I said, you gotta risk it for the biscuit. It was 6 damage, poison on 3 people. Even though you are gonna basically mitigate that with Magical Brew, it's fine.
Yeah, between Magical Brew and Benediction's healing aura, this team just isn't really scared of chip damage.
No. But it at least gives me back to the shadows and allows me to get her back, because overextending any of the hunters is pretty much just allowing you to go full hog and get a murder fest going on.
Oh yeah, they're flimsy. And you did hit a Snapfire on Decimate as well. Excuse me.
I expected to hit one of those, did not expect to hit 2. I I was expecting, okay, if I don't get the flurry, I'll at least get the hit on decimate, and then I'll be far back enough to where it won't be a threat on anyone other than decimate maybe coming in and trying to get a kill, or trying to get damage in, but that wouldn't really be a concern because that's overextension of decimate, and I also don't imagine Zach to do that, so.
Yeah. With Egret out of there, though, Hemlock doesn't actually need the extra influence in the bonus time, so I just give it to Coin so he can get another momentum out of a pass there. Scathe only has 3 influence, so she's not threatening to do anything to me herself. Edge needs Scath's activation to set her up to be able to come into me, so I know that I've got time before I really need to think about keeping this ball safe, where I've got this activation free, essentially. And since there's no one for Hemlock to blind, she just can use her 3 influence to later pass and maybe throw a Poison Cloud if she needs to. Or a Smelling Salts, that's what it's called.
Okay.
It's funny, I always take Hemlock when I'm thinking about conditions and then find myself never using Smelling Salts.
Well, it's relatively expensive. I mean, 2 for clear on potentially like 3 to 4 models is great, but it is still 2 influence you got to give up, and it kind of hurts.
Sometimes. A lot of the time I just find that I don't need to. Like I said, especially with benedictions are so we're measuring the threat range from Rage, which is an absurdly long threat range. Just on his own, before anything else, he threatens 8 inches, quick time for another 2, and potentially a pass for free because of benediction for another 4.
So at this point, you saw I measured out threat for Rage, which we determined was going to be 14. I put Minx up there because if he really wants to go all the way out there, that's fine. And also, Rage had already been damaged at this point, making Minx a 5-1, which is not really that concerning for Rage to do a buttload of damage. You might be able to get the kill, but you would also... It would not be a fun time for you.
Yeah, 5-1's an annoying stat line to try to hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing where I really need to measure things on deployment a little better so I don't have to move all this crap out of the way to check. But Hemlock is just barely within 6 inches of benediction, so she can make the pass to him before moving up to try to throw that
Noxious Blast.
That Noxious Blast that I've got marked there.
Which
the more momentum I can get off passing, the better.
Mm-hmm. Which I think that was probably a major detriment to me throughout this turn, was you just getting so much momentum from the passing. It allowed you to seal in that momentum race because I had no real way of getting momentum this turn because...
The kicking team, if they're not kicking with a captain, is usually going to lose the momentum race if the receiver can make 3 or 4 passes.
Yeah.
And Hemlock does miss the Noxious Blast, but then gets to dodge away with Second Wind. Yeah, because kicking with a squatty, you can definitely get enough momentum to win if they're not able to get enough passes, but that's also assuming that you actually go into people. So if you're someone that is just going to shoot character plays like Egret, or is going to go on a goal run that usually ends up being momentum neutral, you're usually accepting that you're losing that momentum race.
Playing with Skatha, you pretty much have to accept, because really the only people who are going to be getting you momentum effectively is going to be Cena and Fahad and potentially Minx. But
Skatha herself, if she actually takes influence, she can just throw out a ton of momentous dodges and move all the way around the board.
Yes, this is true.
So it's Fahad just kind of shuffling over. Was there any real reason why you put Fahad there?
I put Fahad there to not overextend him and also to not block path of Edge and Skatha and Bear. The Bear is not going to charge anybody because I don't imagine Zach to overextend.
He's also only got 1 influence on him.
Yeah.
But with the fast ground and the potential snowball...
I'll be honest... Recently, it seems like people have just been allowing me to get first turn bear activations that are effective, and I don't know why. So,
yeah, that's just sloppy. I mean, with Skatha, you can send him really far up, but it is a
Yes.
predictable threat.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, I think, just looking at the board technically, if you use the snowball on the bear with the fast ground, I think Decimate might even be in his threat range, but
Yes.
it wouldn't be. That would still be overextending by a lot.
Yeah, and so with some teams, that's fine. If I was playing someone who is not so kill-centric, it wouldn't be a dilemma, but you're playing Union. So putting the bear even close to that is just allowing you the hugest momentum battery you could
Yeah.
imagine, and then also probably giving you 2 points for a potential to get 2 on Decimate, which is not very likely.
Right. And Rage now has the ball from Benediction, and Benediction is moved up to kind of protect him with at least offering a crowd out against anyone who comes at him.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we got Skatha activating, and
Skatha's going to drop down the fast ground. The fast ground will, give the bear just a little bit more threat and also give Edge that Mirage teleportation.
which is such a cool rule. The
So
the
good.
the increased amount of place effects that they've put in the game are pretty cool. And yeah, you're actually reconsidering where you put that because it seems like here's where you decide who the snowball target's going to be.
Yeah. I unfortunately let him know who the snowball is going to, but as we said previously, there's no point overextending the bear, and I knew he would not make Rage go that far downtown, so that giving Edge that little bit of pushing her just 4 inches forward would be safe. It may not be the most safe thing, but I didn't imagine Zach to be that ambitious.
Yeah, the only time I send Rage that far upfield turn 1 is if they... Well, so either if I can kill their model that hasn't activated yet, if I know they're not really going to do much to me, and in addition to both of those, that I'm sure I'm going to win momentum the next turn so that I can hopefully finish someone off and get back to safety.
Yeah.
But I like to keep him a little closer to home. But Edge now has the snowball and dodged up and got Blessing the Moon Goddess so that she can just dodge the world.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, putting Blessing... The combo between Edge and Skatha is just ridiculous, allowing for a teleportation, a Blessing of the Moon Goddess, and for those not really aware, if Edge attacks someone who is snared, she gets a tackle dodge on 1, which turns into a tackle triple dodge, and then the Blessing gives her another 2-inch, so it's a tackle 5-inch dodge, momentous on 1 result.
The rare quintuple dodge.
It is just ridiculous.
Yeah. So I'm hoping to save Rage's activation for last.
Yep.
So Minx is going to go and just start harassing people, which is what she's great at turn 1. So bonus timing the axe throw on Skatha since I'm rolling in momentum and he's not really getting any more. And against a 5-0.
Honestly, it is so painful having having Minx being able to give out snare. Like,
it just makes you sad that you have the worst Minx. Which is... Vet Minx is an amazing model.
Well,
but she's no O-Minx.
Well, before the errata, honestly, Vet Minx was better than O-Minx.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
way better.
So much better. But now it's just like O-Minx puts V-Minx in her shadow.
Yeah, and being able to put snare, especially on Skatha, being able to reduce her movement where he doesn't have the momentum to clear it this turn and lower her defense, just kind of sets her up for me to do mean things to her later.
And it does happen. So here I'm trying to measure out if I can just go downtown and get that goal. And just to be honest, I'm playing Edge, so there's no real question of if I can or not.
Well, if you have the range, at least, yeah.
Yes.
You surely have the range.
She's
already done her teleport to the other side of the fast ground.
So what I measured out was a 9-inch threat because of the fact that Edge is naturally a 7-9. With fast ground, it turns to a 9-11, which is just insane. So at this point, I literally can just walk up and get wherever I want, allowing her to just have some extra influence if need be.
Yeah, having to walk into just one crowd out
is not that bad.
Yeah, you're able to position there. I think I might have, if I were you, I think I might have still gone for the charge, just to be safe. since you only need your first column.
That's true.
But
I figured I could maybe get some more momentum or at least drop out the snares without a problem. I didn't see it really being a problem, but that might have been the smarter move. So this was also another time frame where I was killing a lot of clock. It was more of just to be safe because getting crowded out by 2 people on a TAC 4 model is the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
But again, all I needed was one result to get a 5-inch dodge, so I was like,
well, 3-inch dodge before you throw the character play.
That is true, you're right. So, the one nice thing about Entangle is it only has a 1 dice cost, so being crowded out doesn't matter to me. I'm going to get 1 dice no matter what.
Yeah, so throwing that at rage.
And so my mentality, which I guess it didn't really matter at this point, was I didn't want to charge because I could at least throw out 2 entangles. And then I'm assured to at least get the snare. But with Blessing of the Moon Goddess...
Assured. Yeah. I did air quotes there. It's still only a 75% chance to get it twice, but it works out the first time, so it doesn't make a difference. Which puts me to a 3-1, gives you extra 2 dice. I throw the counter anyway, just in case he flubs.
Yeah.
Then it's a pretty high value counter.
Yeah. The counter would have been nasty if he actually landed it.
Yeah, just pushing her to still be engaged by Benediction, but not engaging anybody
of importance, yeah.
Oh, at all?
Yeah.
Because I just push you 1 inch and suddenly you're engaged but not engaging, and I have happy times.
Edge would have been very sad. But you got to try to live the Edge dream if you can.
Yeah, and with that, you're able to get the tackle quintuple dodge, which you only need like 2 inches of.
No, yeah, exactly. I had the 5-inch dodge. This just allowed me to have whatever versatility I wanted and make sure I didn't get engaged by anyone. The way Zach set it up, which was really nice on his part for how he set it up, it puts me in an awkward spot where it's either like I have the engagement debuff or I get the shot debuff from just intervening models.
Yeah, and you're throwing an entangle before rolling the shot. You throw the entangle at Benediction just to make sure the influence isn't wasted.
Yeah, I ended up missing, which is rare on Benediction, but it's fine.
So bonus time back up to regain the die lost by the shot passing over Hemlock, and you make it.
Yeah, and at this point, I have accepted the fact that Edge is going to die. I just at least make him work for it a little bit more. I want him to overextend Rage if possible. He doesn't have to with where she is, but I'd rather Rage be as far up on the board and far away from his team as possible, so it makes my life easier in the future to potentially either get rid of Rage or not get as much ball threat.
Yeah, and I'm luckily measuring out here of can I engage Edge with Rage and still be out of the bear's threat range, which I can. And the reason I'm measuring that out now is because that greatly affects where I kick the ball back out, because it's really, does he need to be able to pass to dodge back to safety afterwards? And since he doesn't, since he can go safely engage Edge without the bear being able to do anything, I'm just going to punt it to space. He's got 3 pretty quick ball threats, but only one of which has an 8-inch kick. So if I throw it out here, especially where he's got to go through Minx to get it, I know he'll get it eventually, but I'm thinking here that I can get probably 2 to 3 takeouts before he gets in and is able to do anything with it. Just gonna make him work for it.
Yeah.
So it scatters a little bit farther up than I would have liked, but not the end of the world.
It's still in a terrible location for me to try to come get. But
yeah, the Hunter's not having any ranged ball retrieval makes that a pretty safe move. Like, you obviously couldn't do something like that against miners or fishermen.
Masons with Corbelli.
Yeah. So
No balls of fire like Crucible, the sadness.
Oh, I feel safe doing that against Alchemist because she can't get off the ground.
Yes, a free ball, yeah.
Except they've got more fast models with 8-inch kicks, so it's easier for you to get it back in play with Alchemists. Jason does also play Alchemists a lot.
Yes. It's either Alchemists or Hunters, so.
Yeah, so now the damage push train starts, which does make me want to recheck the straight lines if Edge is not blocking Cena's way anymore. And yes, Cena is still out of range.
Zach decides to make the taxing of Edge a thing.
Well, look, I'm not just going to not use my pushes.
Oh, I agree.
The damage push result is one of my favorite playbook results in Guild Ball. It's, I mean, my main captains right now are Rage and Rivet.
Rage is very nice with all his pushes. Isn't it almost all of his damage is damage push?
His second column, his fourth column are damage pushes, and those are the 2 push and the 3 push.
Yeah.
So those are the main ones that he usually wants to take. Unless he can actually hit his 4 at the top of his book or needs to do the 3 concussion. Which concussion, especially against models like Cena or like Vetcat, damage concussion is just such a great result.
Well, okay. To go back to a point, I was playing Alchemist, and he was playing Rage, and he attacked Vetcat. Vetcat was on 2 or 3 influence.
He was on 3.
And you literally put him to 0.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I wasn't able to kill him that activation, but he's a 2-1, so I'm hitting everything I want to.
It is.
If I can't kill him, I can at least make him useless.
And that is rough on Catalyst, because that is your main damage source for Alchemist for the most part, unless you have Smoke just going ham. And as you can see, Zach has made very good use of Rage and literally just torn Edge to shreds.
She's on 1 health right now, so she's jailed for me to deal with at the top of next turn. I'm sitting on a surplus of momentum, so I cleared the poison off Decimate.
Zach,
I know what happens when you leave poison to fester for too long.
Zach just knows how to play the game well and just make it to where my models are useless the next turn.
I've played enough against your hunters to be painfully aware of the bear and how horrible he is.
Honestly, and it's very advantageous to make Edge useless a turn, because her coming back on the board is not very detrimental, especially with this setup right here, where I could just put her in and she mirages and gets the fast ground on the side. It would be bad. I wouldn't even need the Scathe setup.
I couldn't feasibly kill her here, or else I'm just looking down the barrel of a second goal from you.
So what I did there was move the bear up, not to be in cover, but more to be an annoyance, to where if he wants to get Scathe, he's probably going to have to deal with the bear, making him lose a dice, or just deal with the bear first. And so I figured this was just the safest route for...
Plus, you're threatening Minx in this position. You're threatening Rage. You've got him set up where on my first activation, I can't really just deny him targets entirely, barring getting the ball with Minx and passing. But if I do, then the ball is in trouble again.
And as we've been talking about for the beginning of this game, I'm not very concerned with me winning the momentum race at this point. I am literally just here trying to get the best status effect from my cards.
So you're locked in while I decide. And we've got our cards chosen. So I play Dig Deep in case of the second goal happening this turn. You go for Seize the Initiative, which puts me in an awkward position of having to kind of trap Edge in, because if you dodge away with her, then it just makes my first activation annoying. What I was hoping for this turn was, if Seize hadn't been played, was to go with Rage, kill Edge, and then charge and most likely kill Scathe, given that she is snared and on 11 health because of the axe throw. Even with a crowd out from the bear, I probably could have gotten that kill.
Yep.
This forces me to kind of move Benediction there, so that if you want to dodge edge, you're not really going to be dodging her, so that she's not engaged by anybody or still in a danger zone.
And this was honestly somewhat... I knew he was going to think that was going to be the case, but I personally just wanted Edge to... I wanted to threat with Edge on the dodge. However, the real goal was actually to move Skatha into place so that Skatha could go ahead and get that ball.
And become safe from rage.
Yes.
Out of line of sight, so I can't charge her, and...
It was very beneficial, in my opinion, just to use Skatha in that point. I kind of assumed Edge would be dead, and if I dodged her out and put her on too much influence, I knew she was going to die, where you could have basically activated Minx. Minx just throws the axe, gets the kill, and then also threats me with Skatha or someone else.
No.
So now I'm just waiting to see what kind of murder he is going to employ.
Yeah, the start of my allocation is always easy. 4 on Rage, usually 4 on Minx. And then it's really just how much to spread amongst the rest. Hemlock, I like giving 1 or 2 to every turn, and that lets her threaten... because Coin usually ends up coughing up to Hemlock. Having 1 lets me threaten either a blind early in the turn or a... Noxious Blast later in the turn. Having 2 lets her threaten either of those early and potentially both later with the free bonus time. I wound up giving her 2 here. I don't know if I put those down yet or if they're just behind her model.
This is also why I think Hemlock was definitely the right choice to make, because of the fact that her being able to basically get rid of the conditions and put blind when I'm trying to play kickball is just, it's great.
Yeah. And my big thought process here, why I paused for so long, was really just taking this time to think about my first activation, which obviously involves where the rest of my influence goes, of what I'm going to do to both potentially deal with Skatha and Edge if I have to. And we'll see what happens here.
And I pretty much knew exactly where all the influence was going to go. I only added a little extra to Edge to just make him worried about her, to where she might be a concern, and I was hoping that he would actually knock her out first.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, with we'll 2 influence, she's not threatening to get the ball.
No.
If she tries to attack anyone, I just counterattack and kill her. And she's not a threat now. If you heal her before going to anything, then I still have the damage output to kill her. And here I was confirming that her teleport isn't like Nomads, where it's just like a terrain near. She's got to be in it, and because that would have made her a threat. If she could just teleport away to that obstruction, then that's no good.
Yeah, I was about to say, you were also concerned that it wasn't just status affecting terrain, but it was actually, if it was just status affecting terrain or if it was all terrain.
Yeah. Now, this is a really greedy move that, looking back on it, was both a good and a bad idea, I think. I'm not able to walk to engage her without also being engaged by Cena. Mm-hmm. So I do end up charging, which I think I should have gone and just
walked up and tried.
Walked to engage anyway. On the charge, if I want to kill her, she's at 11 health. So to kill her on the charge, I have to wrap to my first column and then hit my third on subsequent attacks, which is bad. So it's a bad move for trying to kill her. What I wasn't thinking of at the time, but ended up being a great result from this, is that you throwing any sort of reaction to this strips the momentum you need to actually have an effective first activation.
Yes. And it does come to kind of bite me in the butt. It saved her, which is what I needed. And I'm not sure if it would have altered it enough to where she would have lived. However, yes, it doesn't give me the momentum I need to go ahead and just get that goal.
Yeah, because I do declare the charge, and you throw the counterattack.
Yep. The reason why I chose doing counterattack instead of defensive stance was, since she's a 1-inch melee, I could easily just dodge out and make it a real pain in the ass for him. However, a defensive stance while being a 5-0 is nice, I knew he probably wouldn't. It would be more successful to do this.
Yeah, it does force me to dodge base to base with you, which puts me into the bear's melee and pretty much cancels out my cover, just to avoid you getting away with your first column and needing to hit your second, which again, 5 dice against a 4-1, hitting your second column is... I forget what the exact odds are, but they're not, like, absurdly high.
Well, it's also Scathe as a 4-0.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a thing. And my charge attack is not great. Yeah, I only hit my second column, which with 8 dice against a 4-0 is pretty disappointing. But throw another 2 damage on her, get base to base. And you do hit your double dodge here.
Yep. So I am allowed to disengage and make my life a lot easier. But as we've already stated, it is annoying because even though I do get to disengage and get to save Scathe from taking a lot of damage, it makes my goal run a lot more of a pain in the ass.
Look at this here. I should have only rolled 1 die on this. I threw the axe at Scathe and I was engaged by the bear. Yeah, there was one other kind of major error that I made later of, like, accidentally cheating, which wouldn't have really made a big difference. We'll point it out when it happens.
Also, I think you rolled, what was it, a 4 and a 5 on that one?
I don't know, but either way, it shouldn't have happened. These are the kind of things you see when you watch the games back that...
Well, everybody makes small mistakes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just don't notice. I think I actually... Because Scathe is a 3-8, and I think when I kicked with her originally, I rolled 4 dice, so I made
Scathe?
her. Yeah.
I thought Scathe was a 4-6.
Let me double check. I think you're right. I think I just had it mixed up. Not a 3-8, it's a 4-6. You're right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did that correctly in the game. But yeah, now comes...
Yep, you got it right. It's 4-6.
The long measuring of, okay, can Scathe do anything? And if she had the momentum...
She could have.
She could have dodged with the snowball, gone for a sprint with the fast ground, I think ended up in shot range.
Yeah.
But between being snared and having no momentum now...
It wasn't a very good possibility. Mm-hmm. So I end up burning... this is another session of burning too much clock. However, I actually do a play that I think ends up working out for the better, which I'll give it time before I explicate.
Yeah. So I'm not quite sure what you were actually checking here.
What I was checking beforehand was if I could kick it over to edge and get the dodge off of that.
Okay.
But yeah, I didn't have the momentum, so it doesn't matter. So, noting that I can't do this, I decide it's not really worth the time and effort, so I end up doing a different play if I could actually be quicker about this. Surprisingly, even though I've burned the clock in multiple occasions, the clock is never an issue in this game. I think it just ping-pongs too fast.
Yeah, because right now, let's see,
You're up about 6 or 7 minutes is what I remember.
There's a glare on Jason's half of the clock, and I can't see what it reads at all.
I remember at this point, I was looking at the clock, and I was like, you were about 7 or 8 minutes up, because I had burned it in 2 points. Yeah.
And I'm at 28 minutes right now, so you're
about
already starting to get low. And the score is 4-0.
Yep. But
it's bear time.
It's bear time. And this is what I was talking about. I think this was a much more beneficial move because it allows me just to build up some momentum from hitting rage, and it also clogs up rage where he has to deal with this bear being a problem. And I put the bear just a hair out of 1 inch, so if he does want to deal with my bear, he has to actually move to do it, or he has to quick time.
Yeah, or Red Fury Benediction, because Benediction has no influence, so he can't help to push the bear away.
Yep. And so I figured this would just be a real problem to you. And this is kind of what I was talking about previously, where I was like, oh, I was hoping he would kill Edge, but since the bear is there, you literally just have to deal with everything else other than Edge.
Yeah. The bear's swinging on Rage, and doesn't...
No.
Yeah.
So
doesn't roll great.
This entire bear attack is almost useless because I think I only hit 2 1s and a 3 damage out of all 3 of her attacks.
Yeah, because that first one was a 1 damage, the second one was a 3.
And then this next one is also not very good.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what it was. I definitely remember that I did not feel threatened to do anything about this, if only because of where the rest of your activation was. Yeah, it's another 2 damage there.
Yeah.
But it gives you the momentum you need for Skatha to be a threat again.
Yes. And luckily, since the bear is there, he doesn't really have a means of threatening Skatha from getting the ball at this point.
Yeah, especially... Well, you also do just heal Skatha right now.
Yep.
So she is back. I had done 5 damage to her with Minx between the attack and the axe throw, so she was on 6. So that brings her back up to 10.
Yes.
And...
So what he's going to do is just become a real pain in my ass with the blind.
Yeah, not as much of a pain in the ass as I was hoping. I was really hoping that I could jog to both engage Edge and be within 6 of Skatha for the blind, but I'm just out. There's a moment where I consider making the attack on Edge anyway. 4-0 with 2 friends, if I can wrap to the 1 and live the dream, but that's way too risky because then it allows Skatha to... Well, actually, maybe I should have done it anyway, because I'm pretty likely to just at least get the 1-inch dodge I need to engage Skatha. Or to, not engage, but be in range of Skatha. I get 1 more momentum of it, but I take the safe option and just
and
go for the blind.
Yeah, I was really hoping that he missed the 50% chance.
75, I bonus time it.
Oh, you did bonus time it?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you, only kept it to 1, because I was like,
Oh, no, God, I wouldn't... Especially, well, I had all that momentum for you damaging Rage. I would never leave something like that to a 50-50 if I could help it. Yeah, Rage is on 10 health right now, but Egret has 2 influence, and Minx, I think, also has 2. So I'm really not worried about anyone killing Rage. If I had missed this blind, then Skatha might have actually been able to do it, but that would have also meant not going for the ball, which I didn't really think you would do.
And, yeah, so I think this would have been much more so if he didn't blind or he missed the blind, this would have been a very opportune setup, because then you have Skatha not really being engaged on the left side of the field, got the goal. Then Egret has the potential to get to the right, and then I'm threatening both sides of the board pretty well for the ball control. But
for sure.
It doesn't play out that way. I'm playing against Zach. You don't get these glory plays.
I wouldn't flatter me that much. But yeah, she is now blound.
Yeah.
I like to call the past tense of blind. So between that and the snare, she's in trouble. Yeah, I put out the 6-inch there, but she's actually only got a 4-inch kick at the moment.
Yeah. And basically find out Skatha's effectively useless because she's blind, which we all kind of knew. So I think about it for a while, trying to hope some miracle appears and I can magically get the goal. But as you probably know, there is no way at this point, because it would be rolling 1 dice for the snowball and 2 dice on the goal. That's the most unlikely circumstances, and it just sounds like a bad time.
Yeah, because I wonder at this point she could still probably get to Rage, but she'd be tack 4 attacking him, and even then only because the bear is ganging up.
Yes.
You would have to spend probably 1 or 2 influence, so she's not doing anything. So yeah, the fast ground's got to go down first.
Yep, so I drop it behind her just so she can tow it, and if someone else needs to use the utility, it's fine. and I don't also want to give his team much of it. So what I end up deciding is she's effectively useless for the goal, so I go grab the ball, get the ball, and I kick it out into space so that hopefully it is useful to me and I can pick it up with either Minx or Egret.
Yeah. I'm just happy because you left her snared.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if you heal her or not. Let's see. The activation's not over.
No, remember I had already healed her. Oh, I healed her with the...
the bear yelled at her. I don't remember if you heal her or not.
So the reason why I didn't heal her is I'm on 1 momentum, correct? And if magic happens where I can actually go get the ball with Egret...
That's true.
I need the momentum.
That's true. You got 3 from the bear.
The only other source I'm going to have for getting momentum, potentially, because I'm probably going to have to utilize Minx at this... So if I kick it into space, the space is opportune. I pick it up with Minx, I kick the ball to Egret, Egret gets a dodge, and then she can get the goal. Mm-hmm. Well, now I don't have any source of momentum because Minx isn't far enough to actually attack, and so the only source of momentum I could have is Fahad.
Good point.
So I had put Skatha on a ton of influence, or at least more than enough, because I was hoping to get the goal run. And since all she can do is kick the ball really now, I just decide, all right, let's see if I can snare these people. And then maybe make his life really annoying with Edge.
Yeah. But you get it on Benny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could have potentially put it further up and hit Edge and denied me momentum from killing her.
I would rather him waste an influence to get it.
That's not usually a good idea unless... it's preventing a jailing situation where you're already jailed. It's not really a big deal.
Yeah. And I comment that, yes, he has turned the kickball master into literally a mascot at this point in time. She is totally useless.
Only in the kicking realm.
Yes.
Which is the realm that we care about right now.
Well, if you're playing a Skatha, that's the realm you always care about. Mm-hmm. So... at this point, I get the accuracy. It makes my life really easy to where I can hopefully get a nice kick place. And the placement from that kick is actually very good, in my opinion. Out of all the potential places it could have landed, it goes right in the middle of the field, right by Minx. It allows Minx to be able to go pick up the ball and potentially have enough versatility to go do other things. Now, I'll give you your time because... there's a little ways away before Minx actually gets to enjoy this glory.
Yeah, well, I'm evaluating here of if you have a goal on the table at the moment. I'm really thinking if Fahad goes and brings the ball over to Minx, Minx is just out of range to get it. Egret would have, or either one of them really would have to dodge to do it, and with them both only having 2 influence, I'm
not as concerned.
I'm not worried about it at all, really, especially because there would have to be at least 1 activation of yours in between of retrieving the ball, getting it to someone. I've got time to worry about it, so Coin goes ahead, and he had an influence on him because I've been considering starting off the turn with him making the attack and killing her so that he could give his influence to someone else.
Yep.
So he actually raps to kill Edge, and he gives his Bag of Coffers influence to Benediction.
So that's one of the longest lasting 1 health models you've ever seen. That was like 3 or 4 activations that Edge was just able to hang out.
I was a little surprised you didn't activate and heal her at some point just to make that
annoying.
Yeah, so Coin clears his poison there as well.
I didn't have the opportunity to do that because I really needed to get that ball, and I had thought about that, but really the most important thing here was getting that ball. That ball was very imperative for me to win this game. If I don't get it, I lose. So.
I think after I went with Hemlock, you maybe could have afforded to go with Edge, just heal her and pass the clock.
Yeah.
Just because you already knew... I didn't have anyone who was threatening getting the ball. At that point, you still could have done... And I also didn't have anyone who was getting over to Skatha.
I didn't know how risky you were feeling and what Benny was going to do, to be honest.
Well, he had no influence at the time.
Yeah. Oh,
He
and
could
he
have.
only moves 4. Yeah, it
He only
doesn't
moves
matter.
4, yeah. So, but now he has an influence, so he can help.
You could have
Get
also
rid
just
from.
made my life hard. So if you could
Yeah.
have, so if you would have moved Benny to the very end of the bear's threat, you would have probably threatened Skatha when she was picking up the ball, therefore making her kick stat literally garbage. And so I was just like, let's go ahead and get the ball. Let's not make her kick stat a 1 die.
Yeah, that's fair.
So what I end up doing, sorry about that, is just trying to see how I can shuttle Minx around and get to Egret. I would have preferred to be able to move Minx up just a hair more, but I wanted to make sure I had tap in because I didn't want to risk anything. So why I wanted to move Minx up just a little bit further towards his goalpost would be so I can place a trap in a more optimal location, because placing a trap back there is kind of useless.
You could have moved up towards, or even a little bit into the rough ground.
Yes, this is true, but landing her in the rough ground is just a bad time.
Potentially, she's what, a 6'8"?
She's a
Or is she a 7'9"?
7'9".
She's 7'9"?
But I mean, that puts her down to a 5'7" on her next activation, which
Still
is
respectable.
It's respectable, but
Especially with the 2-inch melee.
this is hunters. You enjoy the maximum distance you can move.
Well, Egret gets the ball successfully.
See, I'm trying to live the dream where I ruin your movement stats, not ruin my own. So, I should have actually thought about this a little bit more. Zach is like, ooh, I see him trying to dodge up. And I do dodge Egret up, and this gives him the opportunity to basically just have threat with Decimate.
Decimate is very threatening. I think Decimate has 2 influence at this point.
Yeah.
I really should be putting my influence out next to the models when we're filming. It's easier to see. Rather than just waiting till they activate and counting how much stuff they do.
I guess that's fair.
I'm checking here to make sure that after the dodge you still end up in blessing range, right?
Mm-hmm. So I had told him beforehand that I should have declared the blessing before that, so then it wouldn't have been a concern either way. So I should have used it before I kicked, but I had made the mistake, so I committed to it and decided to just go ahead, dodge Egret, make sure she's within 6, and be able to get the free play.
Oh, and that does put you on 0 momentum, which was what you were afraid of before.
Yes.
Because if you weren't, this would have been a lot riskier of sending Decimate in, because your counterattack...
Yeah, I could have just stolen the ball potentially back if you did.
Right.
And dodged out, but...
Okay, so she had 3 influence.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I need to make 2 attacks to break the close control. I love Decimate. She's just probably the most consistent model in Guild Ball.
She is consistent. I personally don't... I've played Union and I don't really enjoy her. She is very useful and important to have on the field, but I personally just don't like her. I don't know why.
I love the damage dodge, just the crazy mobility. I especially love now that 1,000 Cuts is on 4.
Yeah, that's amazing. 1,000 Cuts is so good.
It's so good. And right now I'm debating whether to take the 1,000 Cuts that Rage is threatening to go after her, but I take the Momentous Tackle Double Dodge to pop close control, still get a momentum out of it, and just force her, since she's only got 2 influence, with close control popped, if I have the ball, you attack me, take the ball, I counterattack, take it back, and then you don't have a goal anymore.
Yes.
Yeah, with the tackle, her Decimate's tackle's on 3, but anatomical precision, attack 6.
I do think this is the most ridiculous turn, because the whole turn has been me trying to get that ball and get a goal somehow. I've literally gone from one end of the board all the way to the other just to get this goal, and he still finds a way to stop it.
I find these types of turns really exciting, though, where the ball is in so much motion.
Yes.
And there's a lot of passes being made, it's trading possession. Like, I think that's a lot more exciting than when, as I'm often guilty of when I receive with Union, of just kind of keeping the ball safe and really just using it as a reposition tool. I think the game is at its most fun when the ball is just always in play.
Yeah, and honestly, I do have to say, out of everyone I've played against, you're probably the most viable at seeing where the ball can go and how to get it away from me. Because most people I've played against, if I did some wacky movement like that, I probably would have been able to get the goal, but you always find a way around it. I can tell you that.
I think the Austin meta, on the whole, if I'm generalizing, is a little more casual.
Yeah, this is true.
If nothing, they don't. A lot of the guys around here don't really travel for events, except down to San Antonio.
Yeah.
They're seeing a less wide variety of play styles. I've only been here in Austin for a couple months, but
We also don't have enough people to where all of the guilds are in play, which I find a little unfortunate because, for one, I didn't even get to play against the great Vetox when he was around. Or not
Vetbor.
Vetbor, that's what I meant. Sorry, yeah.
that's because Nathan's too good a guy and put down his butchers for the whole time of Bor's reign.
I would have loved to play him. I just wanted to get stomped by him one time. I knew it would happen, but I would still find it super interesting just to see how good he was.
Yeah.
But I did at least get to play against good Corbelli.
Yeah. So what's going on here is Benediction is attacking Cena. Really anticipating just pushing him away from Rage. Rage can charge him, but I roll well enough to knock him down, and you've got no momentum to stand him back up. So,
And just for clarity, I charged in with Fahad just so I could go ahead and grab that momentum that I talked about previously. I knew Fahad was going to be my source of momentum. So he clogs me up with Benny on Fahad, but I'm like, whatever, it doesn't matter. I've gotten my momentum. It's worth it in my opinion.
You put a point of damage, or a couple points of damage, probably 3.
No, it was 1. Or
Well,
no,
it would have had
2.
to be more than 1, yeah.
No, well, yeah, it was 2.
Because I'm snared, so it's...
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It was 2 just because you were snared.
Yeah.
I only got 2 results on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get the 3.
Yeah, Egret takes the ball from Decimeter. And the other thing with those, what you were saying about seeing roots to the ball and things like that, is despite being on a kick of Union now, I mostly play goal-scoring teams, and a lot of engineers. I was playing a lot of miners, so it's all about that ball jank.
Mm-hmm.
And so Decimate's bonus timing her counterattack just to make sure that she hits that tackle.
Yeah.
Because if she doesn't, you've got the free character play to disengage, you've got your advance to walk around.
Yep.
And it always makes me feel happy when my bonus time die is one of the successes there. It makes me feel good about my choice that that was the thing that did it. Because
I mean,
dice superstition.
Yeah, earlier that came into play too, where you were rolling the gold die for the bonus time, and that was the only result that worked.
I always go for the gold die for the bonus time.
Just throw the swag on the table. So, as I was saying, I just steal the ball. I'm like, okay, I can disengage at this point. And then I just run for my life, and end up using my free character play after this. Luckily, Egret is glorious and has that nice 6-inch move.
And that, assuming you hit the character play, 6-inch dodge at the end of the activation.
Exactly. So I can basically put myself in an optimum position where I don't really have to worry too much about him stealing the ball again.
Yeah, you can just kind of keep that goal in the chamber.
Yeah. And right here, obviously, I'm just measuring out, making sure rage is not a concern, because rage going into anybody is going to be a bad time.
Yeah, so keeping out of 10 inches of rage, because I don't have the ball, so I'd have to quick time.
Mm-hmm. I'm just finally living the dream because I actually have the ball after a whole turn of me trying to get it.
Yeah, but you hit Decimate with the flurry, and then that gives you both swift strikes and back to the shadows.
Yep.
So she gets to just go hide in the forest and force me to commit. If I wanted to go stop her, then I've got to go annoyingly far with Decimate.
Yes. And so I knew he was winning the momentum race, so I just stick her in the forest. That way it may reduce my movement later on, which is kind of a pain in my ass because she doesn't have light-footed, but it's worth it. It's definitely worth it to get the cover bonus in case you do decide, okay, Decimate's going to get all the way up there and try to steal that ball. But I knew, so I think I load her up with 3 or 4 the next turn just for the fact of, okay, you want to play the let's pass
Yeah.
around the ball again. I'm going to get it back, and I'm getting this goal.
Yeah, so Rage puts up bloody coin on himself and just starts brutalizing the bear and rapping for days. Doing all the things that a bloody coined Rage does on a 2-0 model, and making sure that I'm set up so that next turn I can ideally have the bear jailed on one, finish him off,
Yep.
and then charge Skatha in the same activation
Yeah.
and finish her, because again, she's still on 10 health and snared.
The only plus side to me having to play with you, like just trying to get that ball for so long, is I actually was able to mitigate you getting kills most of this time, because I think up to this point we're still at what, 4-2.
Yeah, but
And-
that's because I've been setting this up really to get my points in a big burst here.
I mean, but it still takes. We're still at the about to be the end of turn 2, and you are only set up for this kill and then potentially this Skatha kill, which
Yeah,
I mean you're probably
which
gonna
would
get
take
that
me to
kill.
6. Yeah, and would put the score at 6-8 because you've got that goal in the chamber.
Yeah. I know that the competitive meta is a lot slower, but I mean, I think at this point the clock's relatively low and we're still only at 4-2. So
Yeah, I've got 19 minutes,
And I'm on-
the glare is preventing us from seeing your clock, but you're pretty low. I think
well,
you are...
no, I actually had caught up at this point. I think I was at 16, 15.
Okay.
Yeah, so originally it was an 8-minute gap, and then I think I got it down to a 4-minute gap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is always the careful balancing act of wanting to get the most momentum I can out of my influence, but not actually kill you.
Yeah. Oh no. The problem with Rage, don't actually kill people.
Yeah, he's just too efficient. That's...
The glory. So that is one thing that I wish I had on all my teams is alchemists and hunters. I can do massive damage with Catalyst and Cena. However, their massive damage comes at a cost where I have a momentum battery for you guys, right?
Yeah.
Whoever I'm playing against is like, cool, I'm just going to beat on this and get a whole bunch of momentum. With Rage, you're never having that problem. He puts out a buttload of damage. However, he also doesn't have to worry about becoming a momentum battery.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have victim stats in any sense.
4-1 and rising anger.
Yes.
So that even if I do start giving up momentum that way, I'm getting it back myself.
Exactly. So that is one really nice aspect about having such a effective kill captain.
Yeah, so Benediction just kind of undoes a lot of your work there. That new healing aura at 6 inches.
It's really good. I think it should be a 4-inch. To be honest.
think so too.
Yeah, it's a little too good because you're almost no matter what gonna have the healing aura affecting everybody.
Yeah, like Decimate's the only one on my team not being affected by it right now.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, but it's fine. I mean, Benny isn't by any means, in my opinion, broken. He's just good.
He is incredibly strong, and he is an auto take.
Yes, but
I do think they should reduce that down to 4.
Yes.
Now, here's where I make a mistake. I did not take that extra influence from Dig Deep out of my pool.
Yeah.
I played midfield general, and you played keep the ball moving.
Yes.
So this turn, Benediction should have had 1 fewer influence than he did.
It doesn't end up being a concern. It is something we should have noted, but it's not. It doesn't play a role in the actual way the game plays out.
Yeah.
Now,
Especially because I realized that earlier on I was thinking about it, I forgot something else that should have benefited me that would have completely evened it out.
Okay.
But still, bad mistake to make.
and this is basically a motif of the entire game where I get to play cards for sheer status effects because momentum is not in my favor.
Which
at
means
all.
I also do, because I don't care about the momentum.
Exactly.
I always forget about midfield general when I have it, though.
And yeah, I just play the bonus to kick stat because why not? I mean, my whole goal is to hopefully get 2 goals this turn.
Yeah, if you can make it more reliable.
Yeah. So Edge is getting to move out. I'm thinking about putting Edge right into the effect just so she can use Mirage if need be.
The fast ground, just to be
yes,
clear,
sorry.
yeah.
You're right.
Which makes me wish that Minx had more influence.
Yes.
Yeah, we're asking about Minx's threat range here, and with a fast ground and with a damaged target,
She's on
14 inches.
Yeah, and she's on 2 influence, correct?
Yeah, so just enough for a charge.
Yeah, so a charge isn't going to really kill Edge at this point. She is on 7 health, and Minx does put out a lot of damage, but not 1 attack, 7 damage.
Right, that would be a wrap to the 3.
Yes, and I knew he was not going to hit that because Edge is a 4-0. Yeah, he would literally have to not miss, I think, right? Because you're on...
I'd
Minx
be
is
I'd be on 9 dice.
Yeah.
So I could afford to miss 1.
1, yeah. So...
Yeah,
it
not
would still
likely to happen.
Not likely. I was willing to take that risk.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, Minx did not get the glory she normally does.
She didn't need to. She did her job. She kept Skaitha snared the whole game.
Just being oppressive.
Yeah. There's enough good Decimate got to share more of the glory this game.
Yes. And see, that's the whole reason I am not the hugest fan of Decimate, is I feel like she usually gets shadowed by some of the better players with like Minx and...
Well, she's consistent. She
is.
has the 2 damage dodge momentous on 2.
Yeah.
And that's the result that she's taking
most of the time.
I would say 4 times out of 5.
Yeah.
So she's not often doing a big flashy activation, but she can last first almost any squatty in the game. Just easily and generate a ton of momentum and movement while doing it.
Yeah.
Second wind is invaluable. If you can get 1,000 cuts off,
That's
which
great.
you can more often now that it's on 4.
It was on 5 previously?
6. She
6,
still has
wow.
it. She still has it momentous on 6, but now has it non-momentous on 4.
Yeah.
She also picked up a new non-momentous 4 damage dodge on the top of her book, which she didn't have before. So she really just got better.
She did. And
Yeah, so I'm measuring here if I could quick time Hemlock into Skaitha without blocking Rage's lane. Because I popped Legendary just because the game... If I don't do it now, I just don't do it at all, so it doesn't hurt. And if I can get advantage from it at some point later in the turn, then great. If not, then whatever. The game's probably going to be over, because even if the game doesn't actually end this turn, his people will be so spread out that the Legendary won't do me any good later. And yeah, no response to the charge, and no parting blow declared. Didn't want to just give me more momentum.
Yeah, with Rising Anger, it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, you pointed it out, but I was already like, oh no, that doesn't sound like a good time.
It sounded like a good time to me. I like having more momentum. Yeah. You can never have too much momentum.
Rage is just a very good, versatile captain.
Yeah. I miss back in Season 3 when he used to have a tackle on 1. People always forgot about the tackle on 1.
He doesn't need it.
I know, but it was...
He doesn't even deserve it. He's
Oh,
too
yeah, no,
good.
he absolutely shouldn't have it, and he definitely shouldn't, which is why he doesn't anymore, but it was really funny when you get, like, 1 success and be like, all right, tackle. I take the ball. Wait, what? Oh, yeah, his tackle's on 1.
Yeah.
Where is O-Rage's tackle?
I am not 100% sure.
He has a tackle, because the only model in the game that doesn't is Memory.
Really?
I think so.
Okay. Zach's not really worried about the commentary here because
Rage's tackle's on 3. Well, there's not a lot interesting to say at this point where this is happening. Skaitha is in the process of dying.
That's what I was going to say.
And you're saving your momentum so that Egret can slot in that goal before Decimate looks at her too angrily.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, so I understand why QuickTime got reduced to 1 influence, but I think with Rage it's almost too good, because it's like, alright, counterattacks aren't really a thing for Rage. And
yeah.
I think having counterattacks being a viable option to stop him is nice, But with Rage, it's like, you're not going to stop me. I'm going to kill you. There is
Yeah.
nothing that you can do.
As much as I'm enjoying having one influence quick time,
Yeah.
it did always feel like a play that existed, and people were always saying how overcosted it was, and I can agree to an extent, but on most of the models that it existed on, it wasn't supposed to be a plan A.
Yes.
It was supposed to be really thinking about Rage and Honor here.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be if things went poorly, they have an out, and it's
Exactly.
supposed to be costly. Now, in the current pace of the game, how Season 4 is,
Yeah.
I think they did right by reducing it to one influence. I would prefer that the game was in a bit of a slower state.
Yeah.
Where it was kind of taken back to Season 3, rebalanced from there, and in that case, Rage and Honor, well, Honor should, still needed a lot of tweaks from there and all that, but they would have kept their 2 influence quick time. Morn and V Brisket would have gotten a 1 influence version.
Yes. That's kind of what I was thinking, was like, Rage should have the 2 influence quick time, and then the other people who had 1 influence, like the need for 1 influence quick time, that's fine. Just give him an alternative version, right?
Yeah, just because I like I said, I love having it. It's great, but it's a little. It makes it not. I don't have to think about using it.
Yeah.
Like it used to be. Oh God, I have to use QuickTime. This really cuts into my efficiency. But now it's like, okay, I'm losing 1 attack in order to get a lot more. Yeah, this was Egret made. Both of her snap fires against Coin to dodge into tap-in range.
I was literally just being greedy. There was no point in this. I was like, might as well try.
You weren't losing anything by doing it. You were already in goal range.
I honestly, so if she wasn't in the forest, I was kind of hoping I could just go hit Benny and actually I would have got Decimate, Benny, and Coin, I think. Coin
You mean
might be a
Hemlock,
little...
not Decimate.
Yes, sorry. Hemlock, Coin, and Benny.
And Fahad.
Sacrifices have to be made.
Yeah.
It would have been worth it.
Yeah, but you do get the goal.
Yeah.
Sit on the momentum and Decimate, which actually, with Midfield General, which I totally forgot about there, Decimate was in range to come after you if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I didn't with how things end up.
Out.
Yeah. I did forget about Midfield General, though.
He's just trying to make this the most optimal possible.
Yeah, there's the risk of it scattering a whole bunch to the 1, but if it does, I just go get it with Decimate, and it's less than optimal for what she does with her activation, but I still keep it safe from Minx going for a cheeky snapshot off Egret, but no, it's out of 10 inches of Minx, so I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, and he measured 10, but...
You could glide.
Yeah, I don't think I had the momentum at that point.
Right.
It
was, you only had the 1 at that point, so if you glide, you can't snapshot, but also probably can't end up in range to pass, but
just
why
for
take
safety.
risks?
I agree. I got you.
Yeah, so Minx does throw the charge, or declare the charge on Edge.
Yep. Yes, sorry. I'm thinking of my Minx.
No, good Minx.
Yeah. No, you mean great Minx, because
that's true.
Veteran Minx is still good.
Is very good, but is not O Minx.
It's not great. And you hit it really well, but again, as we talked about previously, he has to literally just hit bonkers to actually get the kill. So
because you defensive stanced here.
Yes.
Because that's why I was that excited about 4 successes. And I think, honestly, I should have left her engaged with Edge because you defensive stanced. If you want to get away from me, you have to attack me, which means I could potentially kill you with a counter. You can't heal before doing it.
And so what ends up happening here is I'm thinking about who to activate next, if I should go with Minx or Edge. I figured since he has Decimate still up, I should just go ahead and activate Minx and try to see what glorious stuff I can get.
Yeah, if you're able to get enough dodges.
I knew I wouldn't be able to actually, get a goal or anything, but I could potentially have everybody locked down.
Yeah, you could regain possession.
Exactly. Yeah, and I end up killing a lot of clock on this game because I recently got into the Skatha kick. Steeljaw is just so glorious. She's so fun. Freaking auto jibbing people, pushing them without having to roll. It's a great time. But Skatha and Edge are just such an amazing combo.
They're fun.
They're so fun.
It's fun to have models that go fast. The whole puzzle of playing a ball team,
Yeah.
at least I find to be a lot of fun. And Union don't have the best ball defense, so having to kick Steeljaw isn't the best because I've got no real incentive to come to you.
The only time that like Steeljaw is really going to be doing much with the ball is when you have Egret running around doing things.
Right, but also if you get to receive,
Yes.
then you have the ball and you have the models I have to kill, so I have to come to you, and
Yeah.
Steeljaw really wants that to be the case.
I really... This is why I like to main hunters. It's just they are so extremely versatile.
Yeah.
Like, you can play kickball, you can do kills, and it's all both relatively effective. I think getting kills with Steeljaw is extremely effective. Like, it's definitely not as good as a Butcher's team with, like, Captain Ox. Captain
But
Ox
you've got
is
the
great.
control elements that the
Exactly.
Butchers don't have, and that denial game.
And also not having to roll dice is nice.
Yes, it is. Yeah, only one success off that.
Yeah, it was
I had
a
defensive stance.
terrible freaking roll. I mean, it's just a little below average with her being a 5-1, right?
Yeah, defensive stance to a 5-1, but
Yeah.
still not great.
It's still not good by any means. So, I just end up getting stuck in a terrible spot.
I just realized you didn't drop a trap.
Nope. I
didn't
messed
even
up
think.
on that.
I didn't even think about it during the game.
Yeah, I should have just dropped a trap right beside you and made it a pain in your butt.
Yeah,
But, you know.
just made it because I was on. I had 4 damage on
Yeah.
me, so I was able to heal her and not have to deal with 5-1. If the trap was there, then
You would have had to determine, oh, is it worth it to get the heal or is it worth it to clear the conditions?
oh well. Either way, I would have had 5 damage on me, so I would have still
Yes,
had
you're right.
damage on me.
That's true.
And yeah, Hemlock just drops the Noxious Blast on Edge, so she is now on 2 health and is poisoned.
So I decide I need that little extra, that nice, like, what, half an inch, maybe an inch and
It's
a
like
half?
an inch and a half.
Yeah. It doesn't actually become pertinent, but it's like,
If
you
you
know
have
what?
it, why not use it?
Exactly. We might as well take it. Again, you get that nice Edge glory. Edge gets to just move around, do whatever jank she wants. It's a good activation, but it doesn't really benefit me in the long run because I'm not here to get kills or do damage.
Yeah, I think you would have been better off just running her away. Just
think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you go in here for the momentum, but
Yeah.
what's that really doing for you?
Yeah,
If
I was
you-
already losing the momentum race, so does it really benefit me that
Yeah.
much?
If you had just sprinted her back towards your end of the field, kept her safe.
Yeah.
So yeah, you
It
jog
would've-
over to engage Minx. You made a lot of 1-die character. I think you've made 4 1-die character plays this game and missed none of them. No, 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the guys in Austin also comments on this. Apparently, I just roll hot for character plays.
The only one you missed was against Benediction.
Yeah. And that one didn't even matter. I was just like, we'll get it for the memes.
Yeah. But you snare Minx and then attack her and get the second column, so that's
Yep.
the 2 damage, and also snare Hemlock.
And you get 2 damage, snare, and you also get a 2-inch dodge.
Right,
which
because
is
Minx was snared.
great. This is why Edge is so awesome.
Yeah, so smacking Hemlock, and you have healed her at this point, I
Yes.
believe. So she's back up to 6 health.
Yes.
But she is still snared and poisoned.
Yep. So I knew she was kind of screwed, honestly. So right here I make a relatively large mistake. If she was literally maybe an inch back, he would have not had threat on anybody.
Yeah.
And so I should have kept her just an inch back, but I thought honestly that would be the safest because he doesn't have a clear path to her directly. But you don't need necessarily a direct clear path. You just need to be able to get there with measurements. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, Coin is in range to just walk up and engage her, which I do just to get the gang up for Benediction.
Yep.
Just have to measure first if Coin being there
is going to block the or block the path of Benny.
Yeah. Which it does not.
Yep. Because you got all that glorious 2-inch melee.
Yeah, so Coin drops an influence to Benediction, which should only give Benediction 2 influence, but I messed up and gave him 3.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I forgot about here, though, is Rage is legendary.
That is true. So they
Benediction, should have had an extra die and an extra damage on these, but he punches her for...
I think without the damage, you ended up getting it on two attacks, or did you just get it?
It took all 3.
Okay.
Yeah, because I do the 3 damage here, which, again, would have been 4 damage if we played this correctly, but I also wouldn't have gotten to make that. So this is the Momentous 2, which puts her at 1 health.
And that
should have killed her. So I should have had 1 fewer momentum.
But
this
you
turn.
were just crazy on momentum, so what does it matter, right?
Still. Just the sloppiness and things that noticing this makes me need to play more cleanly for things like that. All right. So that puts the score at 8-8.
Yep. And so I think he is right. If I would have just ran her away, it probably would have been even better. Or if I put her an inch away, at least he wouldn't have got it instantly.
Yeah.
But honestly, it doesn't matter too much. So he's living the dream right now. He was able to basically make, 3 activations back-to-back effectively?
Yeah, because Fahad just tapped.
Exactly.
Yeah, so Decimate heals, so she's back at full health.
Yep. And so this is why he was saying I should have dropped the trap, because if I would have dropped the trap, for one, he would have picked up snare and been damaged, so he could have removed the snare, which would have been nice for his mobility, but if he healed, it wouldn't really matter too much. He would have still had the damage to give me the bonus defense.
Yeah. So, just start beating up
on Minx.
Yeah. And you threw a counterattack here.
Yeah.
So I'm also just dodging around you to... I go base to base just in case... or to make sure that you can't disengage me.
Yeah.
Since I've already advanced, but
I just try to basically either disengage or steal the ball. I don't get enough to do either, I think.
No, you steal the ball here.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought I dealt the damage for the defense, but yeah. Steal the ball.
Oh, actually, no, that's what we're debating here. You do end up doing the damage, so I'm hitting a 5 instead of a 4.
Yeah, and I don't know which one would have been more worthwhile, honestly.
I don't know either, because either way, I mean...
So, still, you end up living the dream because you're so much ahead of the momentum race that you get 4 activations back to back. Ooh.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's always a bad time.
Yeah, and because I do hit the 3 there, which would have been a tackle if you took the ball, but would have denied me an inch of dodge.
Which I guess doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things.
I mean, I'm on 8 points, so I'm inching towards the goal as much as I can.
Well, actually, I think we talked about it. You were like just in when you end up trying to go for this.
Yeah, without a little bit of extra, or without that bit of dodge, I wouldn't have been able to, or I wouldn't have been able to bonus time it.
Yeah.
But those are spoilers. Yeah, so I take the 3 damage there. I'm not worried about momentum at this point.
He is gonna win the turn activation. He had that glorious rage activation, and Benny got a kill. There's just so much momentum everywhere.
There's a lot of momentum, yeah.
I've just been playing the sad game where I have no momentum the entire game, and he is just pouring and rolling in momentum. That's
sometimes what going all in for goals means.
That is the life you live.
Yeah, so Decimate's taking damage from poison, so next turn, if she's starting off, she is hitting a defense 5.
Yeah. It is a little nice because I think at this point I'm on 15 influence or
14.
14, yeah.
Yeah, you just said it a minute ago.
Well, I think what gives me... never mind. We'll wait. No spoilers.
Yeah, no, you said for it because actually, what game plans did we play?
We haven't played them yet.
Oh, that's right, we're choosing them now. See, I play fullback. I didn't really have any cards left with an effect that would have mattered. And you play keep your chin up because that's always nice to play when you're getting beat up.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly like all I had to work with.
Yeah, nothing else. And again, I still haven't taken out that influence, but it's not going to end up mattering here. I think I remember like as soon as the game ended.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know why I did not really see that goal coming up, like you having the goal threat.
Well, which was surprising me because I thought you were going to bring those two 7-inch jog models on to obstruct my shot.
Yeah, and that would have been the better route. I just totally spaced on it. I was like,
because I haven't been scoring goals up to now.
You're worried about killing, so you don't worry about the ball, right? You're just trying to keep it away from me. No. You're at 8 points. You want that goal.
Mm-hmm. And Decimate's a good one to get it.
Yeah, because what's her kick stat?
3-6.
3-6, yeah, that's pretty decent.
Yeah. Yeah, because Decimate had her full stack, so with Minx now on only 1 health.
Yeah, you can just kill and...
Yeah, I whiffed that second attack, and so it's a good thing I had a full stack. That last one kills her, gives me 1 more inch of dodge.
Puts him on 10.
Puts me on 10, and puts me at exactly the range where I don't have to glide to get there, because I had to bonus time that last attack just to make sure that I
got the kill,
or at least the double dodge would have also been a kill. So I've got 2 momentum, so it's enough for a shot and a bonus time. If I had to glide, it would have still just been a shot.
Yeah, and I remember complaining that I think it mattered, but honestly, I think...
Yeah, you did say at one point you should have thrown a counter.
Yeah.
Which would have...
It would have just basically... I could have tackled the ball potentially, and then you would have had to spend more. But yeah, see, with the roll here, he got the goal on 2 dice, so it wouldn't have mattered. The bonus time didn't.
Oh.
Yeah. So...
But always take it when you have it.
Exactly. You might as well.
Yeah, especially when it's the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, the final score was 12-8.
Mm-hmm. I think it was a very interesting game because it was mainly a game of keep away pretty much the entire time. It was just who can actually get, or will you let me get the ball, and will I actually get the goal?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun in that game. Do you have any final thoughts on it? Things you would have done differently? Things you would have changed?
So I think we already talked about some of them. Mm-hmm. Like, I probably should have blocked your shot in this very last part. So, grand scheme, like, honestly, probably the most pivotal, thank you.
Wow.
Thing I could have done was do the counterattack. It prevents you from getting your bonus time, right? And then if I had just moved one of the models to intervene your shot, that would have allowed you to get down another dice. So now you're rolling 2 less dice, and then it could have potentially allowed me to, try
get
to
the ball back up there and see what happens.
But, these things happen. And so I just need to be more aware of when you're sitting on 8 that you want that goal, and that's really all you care about, because a win's a win, right? you don't have to go full murder fest anymore.
Also, a note here. Mm-hmm. When the game ended, you were at about 5 seconds of clock left.
Yes.
Before it went into, like, the 5-minute overtime.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a note for that.
No, I know. I definitely need to optimize the clock. I just... Yeah. I was getting too greedy with some of my plays, and so I kept measuring out for, like, cool, janky shenanigans I can do. Yeah,
there was a lot of time spent measuring things, and especially measuring things and then activating a different model.
Yes.
Speeding that up is...
Definitely.
It helps in competitive play a lot.
Well, so, again, the Austin meta is not as tuned to competitive.
Yeah.
So, when we played the tournament last week, never had a problem on clock. Mm-hmm. People were not making it as hard for me to get the ball. So, this is kind of interesting. I played almost against the exact same lineup using my exact same lineup here.
This was against Nathan Kunkel, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this was from a guy he's from Dallas?
Houston.
Houston.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's from Houston. He was playing the exact same lineup that Zach was playing. Literally identical.
Okay.
And the only difference I had was I had Chaska instead of Egret.
Mm-hmm.
And I just went 12 points with Edge. Because Edge is great. And he couldn't keep the ball away from me. And he would kill Edge, and I'd just be like, cool, you just allowed me to go the other side of the board.
Yeah.
And so that's the difference is with you, I have to measure everything out to make sure I actually get these things to occur.
For sure.
With a lot of other people, it's like they don't think about how much jank I have going on.
But yeah, the viewer's probably tired of listening to us ramble about nothing for now. So, do you have anything else you want to say?
No, I thought it was an interesting game. Maybe next game, if you do want to do an Engineers, I'll try Hunters again. Otherwise, we'll do a Murder Fest.
Absolutely. If you care enough to, viewers, if you care enough to comment of what matchup you want to see next, let us know what guilds you'd like to see played. Let me know what you want to see played on this channel in general. Before we go, I always like to shout out events. We don't really have anything coming up locally, but there are still some spaces available for Second Wind, October 19th and 20th for U.S. Nationals, a few opened up. And going really far out, June 2020, the Bell of Lost Souls Open is going to be happening, first year convention here in Austin, and I'll be running a 32-man Guild Ball event on Friday, June 12th, here in Austin, Texas. By the time this video is released, tickets should be on sale on the Bowls Open website, BOLS, and should be pretty cool. That Friday is the only day that Guild Ball will be offered at the con, but there are a bunch of other games being offered for the rest of the weekend, mostly GW and Privateer Press. But in addition to that, we've got a pretty great game store here in town, and if you want to come in, I am certainly looking to just moving the party over to our local game shop and playing more Guild Ball for the rest of the weekend. So I'll have a link to that in the description. Check it out. It would be great to see you. And with that, Jason, thank you for joining me.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for having me play, and hopefully I'll get to join the channel some other time.
Yeah. Have a good one, everybody. It makes me sad how often I've gone like 0-6 with Union, because I used to be the biggest proponent of 3-0, and I still love 3-0. 2-2 is my favorite way to play, but
yes,
they're really good at it.
Yeah, you might as well just get the kill. There's no point in not getting kills.
Yeah.
And Union doesn't necessarily have the best kick stats. Like,
no.
I mean, you have Decimate, which
I don't
is
have
decent.
any 8-inch kicks in my 12. And
Minx is she
2-6.
2-6? Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's not really
my
good.
best kick is 3-6, which is scattered all around.
Yeah. I think Benny has what, like a
2-6.
Oh, 2-6. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Never mind. I thought he had a better kick stat because he's got the free. Honestly, see, this is another reason why Benny is just amazing. Being able to get that free kick is great.
Oh, it's huge.
It's huge.
A lot of the time, it didn't end up happening here, but a lot of the time, if I receive, I'll just basically trade the ball back and forth between him and Rage, only costing me 1 influence for getting 2 passes and just as many dodges as I need.
Yes, it's. I understand why he has it. It's not for Union. It's not. It's for Order.
It's for Order, but Union says, "Oh yeah, I'll make great use of that."
Yeah, we might as well, right?
That is a thing.
Order, yeah. Union's really good right now. I think both teams are very good. Obviously Rage is, I don't know if obvious is the word, but I think just empirically better than Blackheart.
There are matchups and situations where I want Blackheart instead of Rage. It's if I had to guess, I would say maybe like a quarter of the time. There's a lot of the time, like in this matchup, for example, if I had to kick, I would have taken Blackheart. Kicking with Rage into a Steeljaw morass does not sound like a lot of fun, and
No.
Blackheart gives me a lot more mobility to just kind of dodge through your shenanigans. Plus, also Blackheart lets you play O-Rage.
Yes.
Which is pretty amazing.
I mean, if you can run O-Rage, why not, right?
Yeah.
O-Rage is just great.
Yeah, like Blackheart is still maybe more than 25% of the time. Because again, it's a matchup thing and it's a kick receive thing.
I mean, yeah, he's definitely not to the point where you don't play him. It's just, I personally think, yeah, Rage is just a lot better for the most part.
In most of the time, I would agree with you.
Yeah.
But those other times when he's not, he's not.
So I have Union, and I've only played Union twice since the new errata. And the only reason I don't like playing Union is due to their sheer lack of versatility. Because
what are you talking about? Lack of versatility?
You're not playing kickball. You don't have a captain that plays kickball, right?
Sure. Well, no, that's not true. Blackheart is. I've said before. I'll say it again. Blackheart's better Shark. He might have a worse kick stat, but his double dodge is momentous, unlike Shark's, and it has a damage attached to it. So yes, he's not literally better Shark, but he's better Shark. Blackheart can play a 2-2 game pretty well. He still wants to play 1-4 a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But the team, each model is very versatile in terms of what they can actually do.
Yes, the models themselves are versatile, but I'm saying more play style orientation. Mm-hmm. You want to go for, as you said, mainly a 1-4, possibly a 2-2.
I mean, I don't run Mist or Grace with my Union, but you could absolutely take a lineup like Mist, Decimate, Hemlock, Benediction, and Blackheart, and have a very respectable 2-2 game there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I feel like it's taking more away. Like, I feel like you'd be better.
Yeah, it's not your optimal way of playing them, sure, but they are entirely capable of it.
I'm just used to playing like alchemists and hunters, which easily have like a captain you can just try to kill everybody with,
right?
Or you can play kickball with,
right?
And
they're
I really
a lot
like
more
that.
Flexible.
Exactly, I really enjoy that play style. Now I'm playing blacksmiths, which really don't have that. They're not very versatile.
No, again, they are capable of playing a heavy kick list, but it's not great.
It is not. Honestly, yeah, I was looking through the cards, and yeah, their kicking models are not optimal. They're good, but there's much better models. Why would you bring them?
Right. Well, you use Ferris to get in your one goal.
Yeah.
And then you get 4 takeouts at various points of the game, and Ferris gets that one goal for one influence from 18 inches away.
Literally, if earlier today I almost got the first activation goal using Ferris. It was almost the dream.
Yeah, Ferris is pretty cool.
Ferris is great.
I've played the Blacksmiths once since the nerf, and they're still really good.
Yeah.
Losing 2-inch melee on Sledge hurts, but I think Anvil's legendary change is a net. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously negative for the Blacksmiths player, but it's a positive for the game. It makes how you choose to interact with that team a lot more interesting.
So, as a person who did not play Smiths before the errata, I personally think it is balanced. Like,
I agree. It's entirely.
Oakland was complaining about, for reference to everybody, was complaining about the fact that Sledge doesn't have 2-inch melee anymore. Me looking at his card as someone who hadn't played him before, I think that's how he should be. He should not have 2-inch. Yeah. Having 2-inch just makes him nasty. He's already doing copious damage. He has just the whole blacksmith setup is great for him. If he has 2-inch melee, he's just bordering broken.
And at 1-inch melee, his powerful charge trait actually comes up more often because you have times when you're kind of forced to go for that extra knockdown to avoid bad counters that you otherwise could have avoided by just being at 2-inch melee.
Yeah.
But he's blacksmiths are still good.
Yeah, I like this game. I like the game we just played with Hunters versus Union. I'm hoping next time we play that, depending on what you play, if you play Engineers, I'll probably play Hunters again just because we can see how that ends up turning out. But if you do want to play Union, I personally want to see how a just murder fest goes down.
With
just
Blacksmiths?
Blacksmiths, yes.
Yeah, I haven't played my Union against Blacksmiths in a while. I'm still trying to decide what guild to take to Second Wind in October for U.S. Nationals, whether I take Union or Engineers.
I think you should take Union just because you've been playing Union more.
I've been playing Union more in the last couple weeks.
Yes.
I've been playing Engineers a hell of a lot more in the last
few months, yes,
few
100%.
months, and I don't know. Engineers have the goal scoring I mean, again, they are the 2-2 team in my opinion.
Yes.
And being able to go for goals like that, I think, allows me to punch above my weight class better. And there are a fair number of players at Second Wind who I know are definitely better than me. So if I'm going for that, I don't know. I go back and forth almost daily on which one I think I should play.
And that much jank allows you to just get the ball with ease.
Yeah.
So much ease.
They've got a lot of fast-moving pieces.
Yes. And, yeah. I think, honestly, I was thinking about it. I think Hunters, if you're playing Skatha and Edge and Egret, you probably have one of, like, the fastest teams in the game. Like...
Just in terms of, raw inches you can
Yes.
move, absolutely.
Yeah.
You do.
And that's why I like them so much, is they are really versatile, because then you can think of Steeljaw, which is not a very fast-moving team at all. Honestly, the typical team I would play for Steeljaw is going to be Steeljaw, Hearn, veteran, obviously, Egret, Minx, and Fahad. That's typically what I would play with Steeljaw. Yeah. It's a very slow-moving team in comparison to the amount of craziness you have with Skatha. So
yeah, I think taking either Chaska or Yekar in this list would have given you a bit more punch and more viability to try to go for 2-2.
Yes.
The bear was really your only damage threat.
Okay, and so going on that, see, this is the one thing I don't personally... So I was playing against Oakland earlier today where he was playing Engineers. Mm-hmm. And this is the one thing I don't really like about Engineers, is you're relying on basically Rivet and Colossus to get kills. That's it.
Get kills, the tradition... Well, Nomad is pretty decent at it, with a 2 damage on 3 being at tax 7.
Yeah, but you're probably only going to get 6 damage out of him. 6 is good, but it's not like...
Well, it depends if he's got full stack or not. But yes, that is true that a lot of the time those are who you're relying on kills.
Yes.
But you also have a lot of options for ring outs if that presents itself, and you also have a lot of options for goals. So the thing with Engineers, and we're getting very off topic for this video, is just constantly pressuring them from multiple angles.
Yeah.